Hey guys, it's Mike Chen. Good to see you again. It's been a while. I know, I'm so sorry. I've just been traveling around the world, eating, getting food poisoned. A lot of stuff happened. But anyway, I'm back and it's good to be back. And we're gonna start off with this video. I've mentioned before that I love castles, I love cathedrals, basically any structure with a lot of history and mystery. And this castle I'm talking about today has been on the top of my castle visitation bucket list. Yeah, I got one of those. And I'm talking about the Neuschwanstein Castle in Germany. Now, I've always been fascinated with this castle because it literally looks like something out of a fairy tale. I mean, this thing is just gorgeous. It's situated way up on the snow-dusted peaks of southern Germany, and I would say it's one of the most picturesque and it's definitely one of the most visited castles in the world. The castle is situated on a rugged hill overlooking the Bavarian village of Hornschwangau. Neuschwanstein Castle, which roughly translates to New Swanstone Castle in English, is a 19th century Romanesque revival palace that was built for King Ludwig II of Bavaria, who himself was also known as the Fairy Tale King, which is probably why the castle looks like, well, that. Now, it is believed that the palace was originally built to allow the Fairy Tale King to withdraw from public life in the aftermath of the Austro-Prussian War, having lost his power. And if you're thinking, okay, just a castle made for a king, it looks like a place Cinderella sleeps in, what's the big deal? Well, there is something really interesting about this castle. Now, construction of Neuschwanstein Castle began in 1869 upon a foundation of castle ruins atop a hill, offering up an idyllic view of the surrounding Bavarian landscape. Inside, the castle became known for its emotive depictions of repentance and salvation in the form of decorations showing knights and kings adorning several of the interior walls. It would also take more than a decade before workers had completed enough of the castle for King Ludwig II to move in. The design of the castle was a collaboration between architects and theatrical designers and artisans, with the Fairy Tale King being known to take inspiration from King Louis XIV of France and the Palace of Versailles. So here's the interesting part. Despite being such a large and lavish construction and originally having plans for 200 rooms, the castle was only ever home to King Ludwig II, and not for particularly long either. Because you see, in 1886, King Ludwig II was dethroned after being declared insane by a team of experts led by psychiatrist Bernard von Guden. The reasoning was largely based upon the king's eccentricities and erratic behavior, such as, well, building lavish castles that would often leave him significantly in debt and choosing to eat outside regardless of the weather. It is also now known, based on diary entries and other sources, that the king was homosexual, which back then was more than frowned upon. So this was enough for von Guden's team to decree that the king was no longer capable of ruling, and 2 days after this, on the 12th of June 1886, he was seized and brought to Castle Berg, located on the eastern shore of Lake Starnberg. It was here that the Fairy Tale King would spend his final hours. At around 6 p.m. on the 13th of June, King Ludwig II requested permission to go for a walk around the lake, and it was decided that von Guden would be the one to accompany him. Now, here's the mysterious part of all this. This was the last time that either of the two men would be seen alive, because several hours later, the two men's bodies were retrieved from the lake. Von Guden's body showed signs of being attacked, while there was also reportedly evidence to suggest that he had been hit on the head with something and then eventually strangled. Officially, King Ludwig II's death was recorded as drowning. However, it has since been discovered that no water was found in the king's lungs, and it was also known that he was a strong swimmer. Because of all this, the mystery of King Ludwig II's death has since sparked wild debates and various conspiracy theories. In more recent years, investigators into the death of the Fairy King have indeed added weight to the theory that there was a more insidious motive behind his death. Evidence unearthed by investigators has shown that the diagnosis of von Guden's team of experts was incorrect in both form and substance. For a start, von Guden never met the king during his assessment. They had only previously met 12 years before. Objective evidence was also not sought, and only biased opinions of the king were admitted as evidence. In fact, it has also been claimed that the evidence written by a secretary that could have shown that the king was actually capable of ruling was largely ignored. So this does suggest that von Guden could very well have been biased against the king, and there are even theories that propose he was recruited by embarrassed family members looking to gain power in order to discredit and remove the king. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think there's something more to the mystery of King Ludwig II's death, or is this just another case of tragedy being shaped into something else? But whatever the truth is, Neuschwanstein Castle remains one of the most enchanting and magical landscapes that exist today. It is also but one example of the Fairy Tale King's extensive and impressive collection of castles. I mean, this guy collected castles like most people collect cars. Other other castles built by this king include Linderhof. But here's the thing, let me ask you guys, if you were super rich, if you were one of the richest people in the world, would you build a castle for yourself, like a 200-room castle for yourself? I guess maybe it could be interesting sleeping in a different room every single night for almost a whole year. Personally, I don't think I could do this because I live in a small house right now, and I still imagine people sneaking in and sleeping in my basement. So I think having that many rooms would actually drive me insane. But anyway, hopefully one day I get to visit this castle because, you know, I did see the ones at Disney which were inspired by this castle. So it'd be really cool to see the real thing at some point. All right, guys, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you later.